We have an announcement. So Andrew Cuomo has announced that despite losing the Democratic primary, he is now going to run as an independent in the general campaign against the Democratic Party nominee, him, Mandani, and Eric Adams. And of course, Silva, the Republican nominee. Those are the general election candidates.
Hello, I'm Andrew Cuomo. And unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know that the Democratic primary did not go the way I had hoped. To the 440,000 New Yorkers who voted for me, a sincere thank you. Thank you for believing in me, in my agenda, and in my experience. And I am truly sorry that I let you down. But as my grandfather used to say, when you get knocked down, learn the lesson and pick yourself back up and get in the game. And that is what I'm going to do. The fight to save our city isn't over. Only 13% of New Yorkers voted in the June primary. The general election is in November, and I am in it to win it. My opponent, Mr. Mandani, offers slick slogans, but no real solutions. We need a city with lower rent, safer streets, where buying your first home is once again possible, where childcare won't bankrupt you. That's the New York City we know. That's the one that is still...
Listen to how he's taking on the affordability language of Mamdani's campaign. Mamdani has completely redefined what the campaign's talking about.
...is once again possible, where childcare won't bankrupt you. That's the New York City we know. That's the one that is still possible. You haven't given up on it, and you deserve a mayor with the experience and ideas to make it happen again, and the guts to take on anyone who stands in the way. Every day I'm going to be hitting the streets, meeting you where you are, to hear the good and the bad, problems and solutions. Because for the next few months, it's my responsibility to earn your vote. So let's do this. I'll see you out there.
So, one Democrat nominee, two independents, one Republican nominee. You know, this might be the best opportunity for a Republican to win the New York City mayoral race of the century. And I don't think they're going to get another one anytime soon with this good odds. The only problem is the Republican nominee is Silva, the dude with the like beret on his head. It does the nighttime patrols. You know, he's a cat dad. I can relate to him on that. But to be honest with you guys, his odds of winning over enough New Yorkers to flip it is basically nil. But now I would give it like a 5%. I give it a 5% because, again, we now have the Democratic Party vote split three ways. The current incumbent mayor is Eric Adams. He's running in the general. He has tremendously low approval ratings. He has a corruption scandal for him being paid off by the Turks to overlook safety violations in building code in order to make the Turkish government look good. And he got rewarded with free flights and tourism in Turkey. He chose Turkish tourism over New Yorkers' safety. I want a man that serves the interests of Americans and primarily New Yorkers as the mayor of New York, not those who serve the interests of Istanbul. Remember how Eric Adams kept calling New York the Istanbul of America? Yeah, that didn't come from nowhere. Just like when Tim Pool said that Ukraine is the #1 enemy of this country and of the world. Someone was cashing that check. So Eric Adams is the first one. Incredibly unpopular incumbent with a corruption issue, right? Then you move over to status quo Cuomo, right? Cuomo has 13 accusers. 13 accusers. Damaged goods, to put it lightly. He's also going from governorship to New York City mayoral race. He's trying to get back into the political fray. But also, as somebody who is such a well-known face within the party, that gives him a sort of name ID advantage that in many races would probably, and maybe if Mandani didn't run, probably could have gotten him over the finish line. But him having checked out of politics due to those scandals, the presence of that scandal, and the fact that just due to his presence within Democratic Party in New York City politics and his time as mayor, including the nursing home scandal. It made it so he became a sort of representation for the status quo, as well as a representation for the nursing home and scandal with 13 accusers, with his excuse being, hey, I'm Italian. I mean, come on, I'm Italian. It wasn't a great day for Cuomo family PR. Not that the Cuomo family has been particularly great in recent years when it comes to their PR. He got his brother to talk about him nicely, though. And then you've got Mandani. So you're splitting the vote in such a way now that I actually think that Mandani might have a better chance. I know that's weird, but think about it this way. You've got Eric Adams, the incumbent mayor who ran and originally got elected as a Democrat, who is now running as an independent to be reelected with no chance of winning, but he's going to get some of the vote. I imagine that some people in the city support him. I see him have press conferences and he's like backed up by like half the church choir, and like all these different people. I mean, so somebody's voting for him. It might be literally a single digit percentage point, like 7 or 8%, but that takes some vote away. Then you've got Andrew Cuomo. He did 20 something percent, in 20 to 30 something or low 30 something percent in the primary. Mandani was clearly curb stomped him. But if you wanted to beat Mandani, when he has the momentum and now name ID he has, when he has that vision of a bold future where he's putting out bold ideas, whether the rent freeze will work or not, isn't really the question. The question is he's offering something that is a solution that is different. He comes off as authentic. He isn't tied to the status quo. And he's offering a positive vision for change and has plenty of ammunition to go after the other candidates, whether it be Eric Adams' record from this term, Eric Adams' corruption, Cuomo's accusers, the nursing home scandal, even though he hasn't particularly concentrated on that, or Cuomo's time as governor, where Mamdani, outside of social media posts, which might be problematic, or him shouting out hammer and sickles, or him shouting out the uncommitted stuff, none of that stuck enough to stop him. None of that stuck enough to undermine him. And I don't think any TED Talk about the inefficacy of rent freezes and long-term housing quality, you're going to have to do a lot of legwork there in the next few months to make voters care about that. Especially when Mandani has also shown a willingness and openness when he was being questioned by the Bulwark, by Tim Miller of the Bulwark, on what you would do, with these public grocery stores. When he was asked about his idea to have a public grocery store in every single one of the 5 boroughs, he responded, look, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and we'll stop doing it. And having that amount of flexibility, not being like grabbing it and saying, no, I'm sure it'll work and it will 100% work, and if it does, having that sort of flexibility, there's no reason it couldn't give flexibility on other issues. It would be harder on the rent freeze due to how much has been a present issue on his campaign, and there's going to be a reckoning if he wins when it comes to the rent freeze, whether he goes through with it or not. If he goes through with it for the effects of it, and if he doesn't go through with it when it comes to him not delivering on his promises. But right now, Mamdani has the momentum. So if you want to stop someone with momentum, you got to unite the forces against that momentum. And that's why when Silwa was on Fox News, one of the Fox News hosts, hey, do you want to do coalesce together with the other candidates to make an anti-Mamdani coalition? And he said no. The Republican candidate said no. So the Republican candidate's running as a Republican. If you vote for the Republican, you're not voting for Mamdani, or you're not voting for, of course you're not voting for Mamdani, but you're not voting for Eric Adams, and you're not voting for Andrew Cuomo. So that leaves it already divided. But then with Andrew Cuomo throwing himself in the race, maybe people think because he doesn't have as low of an approval rating as Eric Adams that he has a better chance, but him running with Eric Adams in the race, taking votes away from him, that hurts him. That hurts him. And so I think that with Eric Adams still in the race Andrew Cuomo has a long shot governor's race. The question is going to be whether or not the scare, the fear factor from the boys on Wall Street up there in New York, or other billionaires having the richest city in the world. I mean, I don't know if it's the richest city in the world, but, you know, the richest city in the United States, controlled by a socialist, a democratic socialist, but a socialist nonetheless, is going to be so scary that they double down and triple down on their Democratic primary strategy, which is big money, big money, big money, big money. I could see them thinking, look, if we didn't succeed the first time, we just need to drown the airwaves with anti-Mandani ads on the radio, anti-Mandani ads on the TV, anti-Mandani mailers sent out to every home. And we tried to do our best to get that cause, that momentum stopped. Maybe we could see that, but the odds right now are still in Mamdani's corner, despite Cuomo throwing his hat in the ring. He's more popular than Eric Adams, but he still has to deal with the Eric Adams vote split. Unless somebody bankrolls Cuomo to the moon, I think his chances are low. And even then, big money didn't win him the first round. The anti-Mandani coalition is shattered. Basically,